man of faith. If you woke up this morning and that's a victory, being of this world ain't did shit for me. Cause that's his story, not my history. Seeking the Father to get a sense of me. Got my mind on the kingdom, I see it vividly. Better guard your mind, protect your energy. Gotta cleave to your word, that's my remedy. Gotta cleave to your word, that's my remedy. Spirit of life got us stood on our feet. Don't be deceived, they got a heart full of deceit. We daily oppressed, so we mourn and we weep. Just a messenger, Yahweh is God in my speech. We thankful just to make it through the weekend. Our honorable men, it's not in season. Demands of the world got us drowning in the deep end. Hear the good news, salvation close. No time to boast, gotta be humble in hope. Even the devil shake and tremble, knowing this time is short. Make sure that my election is sure, and every nation go bow with their heads to the floor. Ain't no time for setbacks, stay covered in these laws. If you woke up this morning and that's a victory, being of this world ain't did shit for me. Cause that's his story, not my history. Seeking the Father to get a sense of me. Got my mind on the kingdom, I see it vividly. Better guard your mind, protect your energy. Gotta cleave to your word, that's my remedy. Gotta cleave to your word, that's my remedy. You didn't lose that fight, you got the victory. You taught me to love myself inwardly. My heart stopped, that was a C-section delivery. My memories of you, yeah, I got galleries. Your last days, cherish every moment. Every spirit gotta leave and pass over. No more crooked doctors and cold shoulders. Overcome this world, physician with lies. Toss that dirt on you, give me the reason to try. Yahweh give you wings now, teach me to fly. I can't forget that last tear coming down your eyes. This body just a shell, it's what's dwelling inside. One day at a time, I'ma take it with strides. If you woke up this morning and that's a victory, being of this world ain't did shit for me. Cause that's his story, not my history. Seeking the Father to get a sense of me. Got my mind on the kingdom, I see it vividly. Better guard your mind, protect your energy. Gotta cleave to your word, that's my remedy. Gotta cleave to your word, that's my remedy. Yeah. Yeah. When you see some light, that's a breakthrough. Concrete jungle, it's a damn zoo. Eyes wide, while they live on snooze. I hope in what you touch, impact some souls. Picture perfect, nigga, like a centerfold. I'm all about my bread, that's the dinner roll. Do it on my lonely, you can send the word. I remember drinking until my speech was slurred. But karma is the bitch, you better treat it right. It's power in these thoughts, she gave me mic. But this your life, nigga roll the dice. Eviction notice, try not to notice. But through your ups and downs, trying to find your purpose. Girded in this truth, blocking evil forces. Good intentions, create your invention. No huddle, fourth and inches. Keep on trying, heart of a lion. Keep on climbing on your way to Zion. Highs and lows, no time to fold. Since the snotty nose, I've been kind of bold. Keep on trying, heart of a lion. Keep on climbing on my way to Zion. Highs and lows, no time to fold. But since the snotty nose, I've been kind of bold. You headed to them streets, trying to fill the void. Trying to box with God, trying to win our floor. All these traps, gotta count the joy. I lift my voice up like a trumpet though. Wash away these sins and these transgressions. Change your outlook, that's your only weapon. But We the black Jews, these is mental Jews. Trying to set a pace while they drive on cruise. Can't trust their actions, they intent is cruel. I'm from a sunny place where it's shady people. Erase your history, and they say we equal. Do your all in this world, they make you feeble. Built these corporations, look how they treat you. Get up on your grind, I'm thinking ownership. I know your past mistakes equate to something better. He give visions to the blind, Helen Keller. Keep on trying, heart of a lion. Keep on climbing on your way to Zion. Highs and lows, no time to fold. Since the snotty nose, I've been kind of bold. Keep on trying, heart of a lion. Keep on climbing on my way to Zion. Highs and lows, no time to fold. But since the snotty nose, I've been kind of bold.
All right. Shalom, shalom to everyone that's coming in. Shalom, shalom. Now move over. All of you see the title. Low sound? Hold on. Mute the mic. Give me just a second. Can I be heard now? Can I be heard now? Let me know if I'm good to go. All right, can't throw out as I'm a gun. That's why I gotta speak towards the mic. All right, so you guys seen the thumbnail to the class, The Great Feast, which is the title of the lesson tonight. Going into a parable tonight and going to be looking at it from the different angle I'm going to go into. This is definitely a self-inflicting parable because this applies to every single one of us. I'm sure every single one of us had been here. And we relate to what we're going to go into tonight with this parable. Yahawashi's parables relate so much to us, and the fact that the greatest thing of our Lord and Savior being an Israelite himself is that there's no one better that understands you than your own people. I say that because after reading this and after thoroughly going through it, it makes sense why the God we serve has such of a wrath and vengeance and anger he does when it comes to dealing with his people. And you can't fault the Most High for it, because if you were in the shoes and in this place, you'd understand everything that he feels. Some days I wake up and I think to myself, I'm grateful I'm not the Most High. And I don't say that arrogantly. Imagine if you were the creator of all things and everything, how much you have to handle, how much you have to deal with. I couldn't be the Most High simply because of what happened in Genesis. Imagine the beauty and how divine of everything that you make and create rots to absolute shit and nothing. And then you have to wipe everybody out and destroy everyone and everything, leaving 8 people behind and all the animals of 2 of every kind. And you have to restart over. And then leave a sign behind for humans that I'm not going to do this again, but you better behave and listen. And humans are an infinite number of times worse now than we were in the beginning. after the Lord pushed the restart button and gave us a second chance. That's humans for you. So, to get into tonight's parable. I'll give the context. This is Luke chapter 14 and verse 1. And it came to pass as he went, Yahawashi, into the house of one of the chief Pharisees to eat bread on the Sabbath day, that they watched him. Verse 2, and behold, there was a certain man before him which had the dropsy. And Yahawashi answered, spake unto the lawyers and Pharisees, saying, is it lawful to heal on the Sabbath day? And they held their peace, and he took him and healed him and let him go. And he answered them, saying, which of you shall have an ass or an ox fallen into a pit, and will not straightway pull him out on the Sabbath day? And they could not answer him again to these things. And he put forth a parable to those which were bidden, when he marked how they would choose out the chief rooms, saying unto them. So the Pharisees are present. He's at the house amongst one of the chief Pharisees on the Sabbath day eating bread, and he's giving these parables. What I want to skip down to is verse 15, which is the centrality of this lesson. Verse 15 says, and when one of them that sat at meat and with him heard these things, he said unto him, blessed is he that shall eat bread in the kingdom of God. Then said he unto him, a certain man made a great supper and bade many, and set his servant at supper to say to them that were bidden, come, for all things are now ready. So, perfect. You know, the good brother and the good sister, Kawan and Izar are both in the chat. They have opened up their homes many times and have been at the heads of brothers gathering together and leading the feast. They were this past year at Passover, so they're very much going to understand the context of this. A certain man made a great supper and bade many to come, meaning I'm preparing and making a lot of food. Like there's jokes, in Esau's movies, how the kids are always getting ready for breakfast and they have bread, fruit, waffles, orange juice. They have everything everywhere to serve to these children. And yet they only take a bite of the bread or take some fruit and then walk out the door. That's wasteful and very inconsiderate, especially when someone went out their way to make food for you. You take so little and don't even actually eat. So a great supper was made and bade many to come. The man sent his servant, because he's the master of the feast, so he's overseeing everything. He sent his servant out to go have others come to what he's preparing. He said, come, for all things are now ready. Which means now he himself at this point is going to get ready, as his servant is going to go gather the guests. So he's going to get dressed. He's going to get prepared, prepare anyone else that he has to, being the master of this feast. All right. So a feast is a large, sumptuous, usually a ceremonial meal prepared for many guests to celebrate a special event or an occasion. The evening meal, especially when dinner is served, is at midday. When served at midday. This is what supper means. Supper is usually served around the evening time. It comes from the French word, the origin, souper, which is often associated with social, community, and church gatherings. So when you guys have heard the boomers, if you will, you've heard them say it's supper time or it's time to eat supper. Souper, being the French origin of the word, means people come together, socialize, eat, and they break bread. So as it's time, and he says, all things are now ready, we're going to read verse 18. Oh, excuse me, before we do, the word bidden. Bidden is a past participle of bid. So bid is present tense. I bid you to come. They were all bidden, meaning it's. I'm not going to get forward with this. Basically, it's the past. I'm going to explain and get back into it why it's the past. Why bidden was used instead of bid. Primarily, it means to be ordered, commanded, invited, or requested. You are instruction, you are obliged, and you are mandated to come. There's a reason why it says to them that were bidden. This is a short parable, but it's very deep and impactful and very insightful, is what I'm about to get into now. Verse 18, it says, and they all with one consent began to make excuse. The first said unto him, I have bought a piece of ground, and I must needs go and see it. I pray thee, have me excused. And another said, I have bought 5 yoke of oxen, and I go to prove them. I pray thee, have me excused. And another said, I have married a wife, and therefore I cannot come. So that servant came and showed his lord these things. Then the master of the house, being angry, said to his servant, go out quickly into the streets and lanes of the city, and bring in hither the poor and the maimed, and the halt and the blind. And the servant said, Lord, it is done as thou hast commanded, and yet there is room. And the Lord said unto the servant, go out into the highways and hedges, and compel them to come in, that my house may be filled. For I say unto you that none of those men which were bidden shall taste of my supper. Now we're going to get into why all of this happened and took place. All right, so back at the word bidden, it's a past participle. In verse 17, when it says, and sent his servant at supper to say to them that were bidden, the people that were bidden had the invitation and the orders, if you will, to already be there and go. At a wedding, there is a certain list and guests that are particularly invited by the husband and wife that are going to be wedded that night. They are not necessarily mandated or ordered like it's the military, but they were invited and they were requested to be there and be present ahead of time. These people were invited ahead of time, because you do things in decency and in order. So what I'm getting at is the people that were invited that made these excuses already knew about it ahead of time. That's why it says bidden. It's past tense, because the invite was already given out way before the feast was finally prepared. So, with that being said, the fact that they all made excuse shows where their priority. The fact that every single one of them had something to pull out of their cards and bring up something pertaining as to why they could not be there and go really made the master upset and mad, especially because you're canceling and you're ditching the plans you agreed to last minute instead of canceling them ahead of time. This is very reminiscent, and might we keep in mind of the word feast. It comes from the Hebrew word mawa'id, which means to gather, holy convocation, to come together. This is also inside the scriptures. In 1 Samuel chapter 20, we read through First Samuel in the Chronicle series. In 1 Samuel chapter 20, in verse 24, it says, so David hid himself in the field, and when the new moon was come, the king sat him down to eat meat. And the king sat upon a seat as at other times, even upon a seat by the wall. And Jonathan arose, and Abner sat by Saul's side, and David's place was empty. Nevertheless, Saul spake not anything that day, for he thought, something hath befallen him. He is not clean. Surely he is not clean. And it came to pass on the morrow, which was the 2nd day of the month, that David's place was empty. And Saul said unto Jonathan his son, wherefore cometh not the son of Jesse to meat, neither yesterday nor today? Now on the Sabbath, which is a holy convocation, it's a feast day, you're supposed to gather together. On the Sabbath day, you gather with one another, socialize, community, which is what supper from the French souper comes from. You're supposed to be gathered together. So I bring that up to say the master had the same mentality, because this is also in the like manner a feast. Now, this parable is doublefold, because as it is, as it's bred and it speaks to the broader nation of Israel, it's also speaking to the Pharisees and the Jews who believed that Christ was too good to be the Messiah. And since they were Salah, since they rejected coming to the feast with all the excuses that they had, well, the master just invited everybody else that was on the outside. We're not talking about the Gentiles here, because this is broad. This actually goes a lot deeper than what meets the eye. We're not talking about the other nations. Well, those Israelites didn't want to come. Well, guess what? Let's go get the other ones. The book of Matthew, chapter 9 and verse 9. As Yahawashi passed forth from thence, he saw a man named Matthew sitting at receipt of custom. And he saith unto him, Follow me. And he arose and followed him. And it came to pass, as Yahawashi sat at meat in the house, behold, many publicans and sinners came and sat down with him and his disciples. And when the Pharisees saw it, they said unto his disciples, Why eateth your master with publicans and sinners? And when Yahawashi heard that, he said unto them, They that be whole need not a physician, but they that are sick. But go ye and learn what that meaneth, for I will have mercy and not sacrifice. For I am not come to call the righteous, but sinners to repentance. So, because he wasn't sitting amongst the popular, if you will, and he was sitting amongst the Pharisees, he was sitting amongst the publicans and the sinners, he was questioned, and they didn't understand why he was sitting with them rather than those of the higher-ups, those with the prestige, those with the fringes, the law keepers, so on and so forth, right? You know what's even more interesting? They didn't realize that even in the letter of the law, those people need the law more than you do, because if you already have the law and you're practicing it, you're keeping it and exercising it to the best of your ability, you should help others to do the same. This is exactly why the master went out and invited everybody else, because these men that already knew about it and already previously had the invitation said no and rejected it. So you know what? We're going to invite everybody else in. Put them off to the side. They won't be invited to the feast. Forget them. Shalom, shalom to those coming in. We're currently in Luke chapter 14, going over the parable of the feast, starting at verse 16. So with all of that being said, let me read it again in Luke chapter 15, Luke chapter 14 and verse 17. And said his servant at supper time to say to them that were bidden, Come, for all things are now ready. And they all with one consent began to make excuse. That's important, because it wasn't just one or two or three, it was all of them. These three individuals began to make excuses. Something that comes up at a certain and particular time that keeps you out of what you had planned to do or what you already were supposed to be doing is what an excuse is. So because past tense being bidden, meaning that they were already previously invited and were already supposed to be there, and now you're making excuses to back out when you already agreed to it, is why the master is pissed off and upset. Does that make sense so far? Put a con in the chat if everyone's following. As I'm explaining this, I'm trying to just give the roundabout to explain what's going on and why he's upset. Because it's not just the excuses, they were already previously invited. There's a time and a place for everything, as I know you guys have heard. Well, the time and place for the feast is now. The location was given, the time was given, now everybody's backing out, and now it's a problem. This is why he's upset and why he's inviting everybody else. And what we're furthermore going to go into is dissect the excuses, because I'm going to put frank and plainly, the master can see through all of their bullshit. Because if you already had and made these plans on the night of the feast, you would have canceled in advance and said, hey, I can't make it. Or you would have never agreed in the first place. Or you would have rescheduled to move your plans around the feast, not cancel last minute, which really it paints you in a bad light. You can't be trusted. You can't be reliable. And you're never going to get the invite again. Like the master said at the latter end of the parable in verse 23. Verse 24. Don't even go out into the lanes in just a city. Go out into the highways and hedges. Go farther out. Don't just go far out. Go farther out and keep on inviting the people until this place is entirely filled. All right. So, one by one, let's dissect their excuses. The first said unto him, Luke chapter 14 and verse 18. And they all with one consent began to make excuse. The first said unto him, I have bought a piece of ground, and I must needs go and see it. I pray thee, have me excused. Sir Thun, shalom out. Now, the man in the field. The man in the field. Before I give my exegesis, does anyone know why this first individual is already a problem? He said, I have bought a piece of ground and I must needs go and see it. I pray thee, have me excused. Why is this excuse a problem? And entirely irrational. Does anyone know why before I give my exegesis? Does anyone want to give their own take on it? Exactly. There should be none. Exactly, Mashak. There shouldn't be any excuses. Anyone else? Aliyah, shalom. All right. So let me give what I have here. No one buys land or a house or a home, apartment, townhouse, etc., duplex, whatever it is, without ever expecting it and seeing it first. If you had needs when you bought a piece of ground and go and see it, wouldn't you have inspected it first? None of you in all the homes that you live in, or whatever kind of home it is, none of you have ever moved into a house or an apartment and shouldn't unless you've looked at it first. I'm pretty sure none of you have bought a car. None of you have bought your home. None of you have bought clothes, shoes, or anything else without ever trying them on first or looking at them. You bought a piece of ground, and on the night you are already supposed to be at the feast and prepared to be there, and we're supposed to be, you have a piece of ground that you bought, and now you're going to go see it. You don't think the master of the feast can see through the bullshit you're saying? Why would you purchase and buy something without inspecting it and looking at it first? What if you bought the ground and then the man that you bought the ground from, the ground doesn't even last a good 3 to 6 months before it's entirely unprofitable and you want your money back? Who buys something without inspecting and looking at it first? Nobody goes blind shopping or blindly shops. That doesn't make sense. So you don't ever give money without the knowing and security of what you're purchasing. Hence, first and last security. More importantly, if the field didn't require inspection upon the purchase, it shows that this individual was shallow enough to evade being at the feast. This would be under what you would call acquiring possessions. Possessions are greater than your responsibilities and duties you're supposed to be upholding and maintaining. Sir Alayah's in the building. Shalom, shalom. Exactly, Sister Maya. And that's the point. The master can see through this. You're now purchasing. You're not just purchasing it. He purchased it, but you're now going to see it. At what day, at what particular time did you purchase this? And now you have to back out when you're supposed to be at the feast, that now you need to go see the field. That doesn't make sense. You only clean something because you looked at what's filthy and unclean, and then you clean it. This is what the master is dealing with. This is why he was angry, so that you guys understand. Now, the next one. That was the first one. Verse 19. And another said, I have bought 5 yoke of oxen, and I go to prove them. I pray thee, have me excused. Okay. Who knows what's wrong with this excuse? Sizamiah said he was just making excuses not to go. Well, they all made excuses not to go, but their excuses, they have no ground. Meaning it's not something that's valid. Like if you guys called out of work, there's many multiple reasons why somebody could call out. You have to, it's not just having the time, you have to have a valid reason as to why you're not showing up to work today. Those of you that know, it's different across every job. There's vacation time, and then if your job has it, sick leave or medical leave. Meaning there's different reasons for why you take time off from work or you schedule time off from work. Appointments, giving birth to a child, funeral, you're going out the country. Those are reasons as to why you don't show up for work, and then some. So now parallel that with why these men are giving these excuses and see how invalid they are and how much it doesn't make sense. All right. The man and the oxen. The second one. This individual prioritized career, business, and you could actually say really wanted new bright possessions over spiritual matters. It shows how being overly concerned with worldly investments and responsibilities come over greater spiritual matters and duties. This is similar to the first person because they should have been proven it first before purchasing it, showing the evasion taking place by not coming at the feast when they were bidden to go. The truth would have been better than an excuse. He could have just simply said, well, I don't want to go. And if you didn't want to go, you shouldn't have taken the invitation. Excuses reveal priorities. Life consists of priorities and choices. You give your attention to your priorities, what can't be ignored and what's put off to the side. So the man that made this excuse pertaining to his oxen, you can see where his priorities are. Animals that you can get any time of the year are now important and more important than the feast you were bidden to come to. And he said, I have to prove them. You had all the time, I'm sure, before the feast to prove your oxen. Why are you doing it now on the night that you were invited? Which is why it says they all with one consent began to make excuse. The master got angry and upset to repeat again because he can see through the bullshit. You're now going to prove the oxen? You had plenty of time to do that. Why are you just not doing so? Now you want to do it? Yeah, okay. Again, this reveals where your priorities are. Oh, the last one. The last one. Very complicated one. Very complicated. Luke chapter 14 and verse 20. And another said, I have married a wife, and therefore I cannot come. If you married a wife, which sounds as if it just happened or was just a recent event that took place, you're exempt from public duties according to the law and war, and you have 1 year to be with your wife and enjoy being newly wedded as a man. But even so, with the status of being a newly husband, what does that have to do with you attending the feast? Attending a feast is not being commanded to be on jury duty or being summoned into work. It means enjoy being newly wedded. A new defined status that you have doesn't mean you can't be present for a social event. That doesn't make sense. See, in the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 20 and verse 4, it says, "For the Lord your God is he that goeth with you to fight for you against your enemies to save you. And the officers shall speak unto the people, saying, What man is there that hath built a new house and hath not dedicated it? Let him go and return to his house, lest he die in battle and another man dedicate it." So what this is explaining is the reasons why some men may not go out to war or may not want to. If you have a brand new home that you just bought and purchased, you want to dedicate it. You want to make the event of owning your new home special. You want to sanctify it. And you want the Lord's presence to guide and be over your home. Verse 6. "And what man is he that hath planted a vineyard and hath not eaten of it? Let him go also return unto his house, lest he die in battle and another man eat of it." Go plant your vineyard. Go tend to your duties. It's the time for it. It's the season for it. So go tend to what you need to. It's important. Those are your priorities. You have to take care of them. We don't need you at war fighting when you have back home responsibilities and duties that you have not obliged and committed to and have not fulfilled and completed. We don't need you there. And that's respectful, because we don't need you on the battlefield distracted when we need you focused on war so we can defeat our enemies. Verse 7. "And what man is there that hath betrothed a wife and hath not taken her? Let him go and return unto his house, lest he die in battle and another man take her." The man that gave the excuse on being married, if she was so important, it's not to disregard women and say that they're not, because he's newly wedded, freshly married. If she was important, you wouldn't have taken that damn invitation. Again, they were bidden. That's why I said it was the past participle of bid. Bid is present tense. They were bidden, which means they were already previously invited. Because according to 1 Corinthians 14 and 40, all things are done and are supposed to be done in decency and in order. So they were already previously invited. You being newly wedded and married is not a valid excuse and reason to not be at a social event where people are just eating food and gathering together. That's not valid. That's why the scripture here just said pertaining to war in this context, but I'm trying to emphasize and show the man that's newly married, go home, lest you die in battle and another man takes you. Deuteronomy chapter 24 and verse 5. "When a man that taken a new wife, he shall not go out to war, neither shall he be charged with any business, but he shall be free at home 1 year, and shall cheer up his wife, which he hath taken." Exempt from public duties, no war, you have a full year to be at home with your wife. If you were newly wedded, you should be at home with your wife, according to the law. Why am I pointing that out? Because he used him marrying his wife as an excuse to back out of the feast he was already previously invited to. So your reason for not coming because you're newly wedded is very much invalid and doesn't make sense. Because if you were married, you wouldn't have taken the invitation in the first place, rather than to cancel and bail out last minute when you're being invited and the feast is prepared and ready. Does that make sense to everyone? Listen, put a comment in the chat if so. The reason why I'm going over this is to go through their BS, what they're saying, how it doesn't add up and it doesn't make sense as to why they're making all the excuses that they are, and it's entirely invalid, and the master sees right through all of them. What you're saying, the excuses you're giving, does not make sense, because everything you're saying and everything pertaining to how you're coming about with these excuses and saying all this, when I invited you out and have already previously invited you, Now you're going to cancel out last minute and come up with these excuses. Rather, it would have been better for them to just tell the master, I don't really feel like going. It's worse to not only make an excuse, lie, and pile on top of that with the excuses when he can see right through the BS. Give me just a second. Give me just a second. I'll be right back. All right, I'm back. Quick intermission. All right. You guys said con. All right. So things are supposed to be in decency and in order. There's a way that things are done because things are supposed to be properly planned out, organized, spoken, communicated, who's going, who's not going, where are we going, everything, so on and so forth. I want all of you to now think which of these men, which one of you was in their place? Because I was in all their places at one point. And not just with the context of being marriage or oxen, or even the first one with the ground. We've all been there. The point and why I say that is we don't want to be these people. We don't want to be these men. If you can remember a time that you gave the same excuse that these individuals did, then it's our job to do better so that we don't continue to be them. Because the master, being the most high in this case, the Lord, sees through our BS. You can cheat man. You definitely can. You can lie, and most definitely you can deceive in the eyes of men, but you can't deceive the Most High. And more importantly, you can't get around him any which kind of way you think you can. None of us can. Speak. This is Sirach chapter 23 and verse 19. Such a man only feareth the eyes of men, and knoweth not that the eyes of the Lord are 10,000 times brighter than the sun, beholding all the ways of men and considering the most secret parts. Again, you can deceive man, you can lie to man, you can do all of that. You can't do it to the Most High. Not for somebody whose eyes run to and fro in the earth, according to 2 Chronicles chapter 16. Whose eyes are in every place, beholding good and evil, in Proverbs 15:3. You can't. So you know what the the master said? You know what? They're not invited. Cancel them off the list. Go get everybody else. Go far out and get everybody else. This place still isn't filled. Good. Go farther and get it and go gather people. No excuses. And you know why those people would have accepted him? Because if they saw the servant and how far out he traveled to go and get them to that feast, they wouldn't have taken it lightly and for granted as the men that already previously had the VIP invitations did. Imagine to be previously invited and say no and make excuses, and now you have the opportunity and chance to come. You lie, give excuses, and give nonsense and BS that he can see through. So he invites everybody else instead. This was based off my reflection that what more can I do for the Most High? And I read this parable. Make less excuses. If you need to pictorially see it, look at the thumbnail. I purposely had Apayak make it because it's a huge feast, but it's empty. You are invited. You have, let me be childish. You guys remember Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory? We all have golden tickets. Do not waste that opportunity and chance. Don't do what these men did. They make excuse. You have opportunity and a chance. Don't waste it. I thought that to myself. What more could I be doing for the Most High? And also a question I asked myself. What can I do to be the greatest I can be for the Lord? Think. And I don't say that at all to belittle or to speak condescendingly to any one of you. Let it be forth in your thoughts and in your mind to think. What can I do? You'll find the answer. He told us, the harvest is plenteous, but the laborers are few. And as laborers, if we don't have the right tools, if we're not prepared mentally, emotionally, psychologically, physically, and spiritually, why are we supposed to go out into the harvest and start doing the work? We can't. We have to be right so that way we can go out into the harvest and do our job. So, to these individuals in this parable, if all those things were important and would have been handled accordingly, and they wouldn't have been there in the first place to take care of their priorities, rather than to be out and about and reject an invitation to a feast, and instead they tended to their own matters. When you don't have time for the Lord, you reveal to the Lord where your priorities are. Matthew 6:21 says, for where a man's heart is, there his treasure is also. This is why the master invited everyone else, like in Matthew 9, Yahawashi sat amongst the publicans and the sinners because he didn't come for those that already had it right. And those that already got pre-invited didn't appreciate the invitation, so they got all theirs canceled and everybody else got to come instead. Absolutely. Sis Makaya made a good point. How can you build your family? And it starts at home before you can give it to anyone else. Absolutely. Let me read the precept to what she said. 2 Ezra chapter 14 and verse 13. Now therefore set thine house in order. And afterwards it says, and reprove thy people, comfort such as them as be in sorrow, and now renounce corruption. Well, you can only do that if you set your house in order. That can only happen when you get right. It starts inwardly first before it manifests outward. So the reason why I say that, and the reason why I bring all this out, we have to move and adjust accordingly to the times we are currently living in. It is hard. It is difficult. It feels at times it's unmanageable. It is stressful and overwhelming. Gas prices are up past $4 nationwide. It's ridiculous. We are all currently and commonly going through the same things. There is no temptation as common to you as is to man. We all can relate to one another in any kind of way possible. It's life. Just because you started off in another arena doesn't mean that in another arena somebody isn't battling or similarly battling as you are in your own life. Oh, for the last portion of Luke chapter 14, in verse 24, it says, for I say unto you that none of those men which were bidden shall taste of my supper. That's similar and very much parallels Matthew chapter 25 about the parable of the 10 virgins. I'm going to skip down to the point. Matthew 25 and verse 3. They that were foolish took their lamps and took no oil with them, but the wise took oil in their vessels with their lamps. While the bridegroom tarried, they all slumbered and slept. And at midnight there was a cry made, and behold, the bridegroom cometh, go ye out to meet him. Then all those virgins arose and trimmed their lamps. And the foolish said unto the wise, give us of your oil, and for our lamps are gone out. But the wise answered, saying, not so, lest there be none, not enough for us and you. But go ye rather to them that sell and buy for yourselves. And while they went to buy, the bridegroom came, and they that were ready went in with him to the marriage, and the door was shut. Afterward came also the other virgins, saying, Lord, Lord, open to us. But he answered and said, verily I say unto you, I know you not. Watch therefore, for ye know neither the day nor the hour wherein the Son of Man cometh. So I bring that out to say they didn't appreciate what they had having the invitation, and more importantly, they didn't appreciate being previously invited. And of course, again, to emphasize, they made excuses last minute and didn't even go. Do not be the ones in Luke chapter 14 that get disinvited and they can't go. Because in this parable, you're going to be the same ones to go out and buy and try to redeem yourself and get a second chance, and the door is going to be shut on you. Just like how Noah shut the door in the ark and nobody else got to come on. So I ask all of you that. What can I do to be the greatest I can be for the Most High? Meditate on it. Think on it. Write on it. Plan on it. Read on it. You'll find your answer. Application starts mentally first because it has to be a thought sprouted within your mind. Then you actually manifest it outward. So I say all of that because every year that goes by, every Passover that goes by, everything rotates, everything changes, everything's always different. But you don't want to be the same. The seasons change, so you should be too. Nothing ever and should ever stay and remain the same. We are as the creation of the Most High. We are currently in the season of spring. We had to deal with winter, foggy weather, weather that is more cold. Spring is now here, which means the earth is coming back to life, which means the trees are growing. Everything's being refreshed again. You see green. You're starting to see scenery. And it alleviates a lot of us because we are connected to nature. We're a part of it. We come of the ground. What should be important to all of you is that as you see the seasons changing, have the mentality that you should be too. Because nothing ever stays the same. Nothing should ever stay the same. Do not be, however old you are, still being a teenager psychologically and emotionally, and how you think and how you act and how you carry yourself. Everything Yahawashi was doing that you read about, and all his offices that he carried, he's perfect, so he never needed to change, but there was always something to do. Always. There was always something that he was doing. Always. So I say that to all of you because if he was doing it and we're his ambassadors, we're his followers, we're his disciples, just as his word. Well, guess what? You have to be an example as he was and do the same. Paul said, be ye followers of me, even as I am a follower of Christ. We're not worshiping Paul, but we're following him, and we should be following Paul as he was doing the works and committed to the works of Christ. The amazing part is in all of your Bibles, all Bibles are different, but in most Bibles, You guys probably can't see this. In most Bibles, this is at the back of mine. All the green arrow, I think that's a purplish, I can't see because of the light. And the red one, they all show everywhere where Paul traveled. Oh wait, nope. Salakia. Wrong map. Salakia, wrong map. This is the map. This is, there we go. You guys see extensively how much Paul traveled and did in his time? Look at everywhere he went. You gotta read, too much of it, but basically from Syria to Cappadocia, Galatia, Bithynia and Pontus to Asia Minor to Thrace, Macedonia to Achaia, which is in southern Greece, to Crete, Cyprus, to Sicily, to Rome. Look how much he did. There's always work to do. We're scattered across the four corners of the earth, which means as he did, and if he could do, well, we should have the open mind and the perspective that we can continue to keep on doing. The reason why I say that is because there is always work to do. We will never, ever be without work, whether it's external or internal. So I would very much meditate and think that every time that you're wondering what to do or what can I do, you will find the answer. Sometimes it comes absolutely easy. Sometimes you may have to think more harder on it because what it is that you have to be creative. You have to think outside the box, as the saying goes. And you have to think to yourself, what can I do to either bring people in, to help brothers out, invest more creativity within the camp, or what can I bring to the table that kind of diversifies things? We are the salt of the earth. By how the Most High created us and everything that we're capable of doing, even still being in the state we're in, decayed spiritually, what can the nation of Israel not do? Sometimes we read those scriptures and kind of just skip over them. What are you not capable of doing that the Most High has not blessed your hands with? Everything that's pretty much been invented today has been by us. Everything that you can imagine that we touch, what we see, what we do, there is some Israelite attached to it that you don't know. And everything. So, again, with this parable, do not be the people that made those excuses, because the master, of course, that being the Most High, if you will, or Yahawashi in this case, because he's humanly on earth, he can see right through the nonsense and the BS when they all consented to make excuses at the very time the feast was ready, and all of them canceled. So he can very much see, again, to emphasize, being previously invited, that none of them decided to come as they were already invited. Read it on your own time and see for yourself. You may actually get angry and feel just like the master because you've been in the same place. Somebody's canceled plans on you before. You've sent out invites before, and someone canceled on you. Yeah, you feel angry about it. So these excuses that they make, or that they did make, are not valid. The Most High sees through them and sees what you're doing. Every single one of us too. No one is exempt from the very fact that everything that we're doing and what we're capable of doing, what you could be doing and what you should be doing, the Most High can see all of it. Proverbs chapter 20 and verse 24 says, man's going is of the Lord. How then can a man understand his own way? When you want to think to yourselves that you are in control and in rulership of your own life, and it's not to say that we're not, we can't forget that our checkbooks and our lives are in the hands of the Most High. Where we go, what we do, everything on a daily basis that we wake up and live, according to Lamentations 3 and 22, is by his everlasting mercy and grace. We don't do anything without the Most High having already ordained it. And just as he gives, he can also take away. Just as he puts up, he can also put down. Just as he brings the life, he can also give and bring death. He is the author of all things and of everything. We tend to forget that as humans because sometimes we get so consumed in living our own lives and doing what we want to do, we forget the Most High. Yeshua had went into his class yesterday, and in one of the commandments, you're not supposed to forget that the Most High is a jealous God. He has feelings and emotions just like you do, which is why you were created in his image. So yes, he gets angry. You get angry. You can't justify yourself before the Most High when he already understands you. He's a heavenly father for a reason. He's very much heavenly, but I like to say he's still a father and still very much ever present. He's omnipresent, past, present, and future, and always will be. So we can't forget that the man that watches over us sees through everything we're doing. He sees through our nonsense and our invalid excuses, just as these men made when they couldn't come to the feast. So don't be these individuals and don't be them when the time is right to do what you're supposed to be doing. That being said, any comments, concerns, questions anyone has? Again, I ask, or you should ask yourselves, what can I do to be the greatest I can be for the Most High? Think on it, pray on it, meditate on it, write on it, read on it, and more importantly, once you have what it is your answer is, act on it to manifest it outwardly.
I was meditating on the way here, like how we coined a phrase where it's all the earth, which is like very so much true. You have to be mindful of how you even season your presence in the first place. Like you have to understand the ability of what your effects are to whatever you put your hand and do and meditate on, and how you have the ability of over seasoning or under seasoning specific placements within your life. Like everybody immediately receives the answer of whatever they're supposed to be doing. Everybody.
Yep.
It's the often softer voice of the louder voice between the two in your brain, but everybody gets the answer. It's just a matter of becoming a listener and executioner, and it'll reflect on whatever you listen to within the classroom. Like I've learned that how much of what you continually watch and view within the teachings that are within the school will reflect on how often you listen and execute. Set them very low.
Oh, because you're away from the mic. Just speak a little louder.
You guys hear me? You guys hear me? Might have to yell.
Yeah. You go.
I'm gonna yell in your ear.
No, you can.
I'm not gonna yell in your ear.
Oh, they can hear you now.
Did you guys hear everything I said, or like it was just low? So I like restarted from what I originally was saying. On the way here and listening to Brock, I was reflecting on the phrase "salt of the earth," and it's very interesting to understand how salt works when you under season or over season whatever you put your hand to do. And one thing I was meditating on in particular is your ability to be present in certain areas. Like Your attendance will reflect on how often you listen and execute everything that has been told you thus far within the classroom. And I'm a firm believer in consistency, regardless of your emotions behind it. That means half the time or majority of the time you don't feel like doing something, that's the best time you want to do something. Because at that point, you're intentively creating consistency and progress through anything uncomfortable. And it circumvents and trails its way into every other area and aspect of your life that you need to improve in. Everybody gets the answers to the question that Brock is asking almost immediate. There's not a person on this planet that does not give themselves a question and they don't immediately get an answer. And I was telling Brock, or before you guys heard me, that it's often the lower part or lower voice within the louder voice and the lower tone between like the thoughts in your head. Everybody definitely gets the answer to their questions. But what matters most is acting on it. And if you don't act on the instructions that have been continually told to you, considering the feast and reinforcing the excuses, judgment immediately happens. Immediately. And it's tallied up against your charges in that day. I think fear needs to be more implemented and respected within each other's lives because we're all not promised tomorrow. And because we forget that we're not promised tomorrow, everybody expects tomorrow to actually exist within their lives. So it creates some form of lackadaisical spirit in assuming that you're given the time ahead of you. And you're forgetting that back then, in the excerpts that we read, men was called like this. And none of us, despite everything that we went through, love the people we lost more than God calling them back home to whatever their purpose is. So the question he's asking is very important to actually meditate on and continually rewire because it gives you almost the immediate answer to what you need to do, and it breaks down what has to be done, regardless of how you feel. So
Appreciate you adding that in. I suggested all of you do those things because, like Ishaya said, you will find the answer. And when you do have the answer, what will you do when you have the answer? I've realized, and I've thought about this, the more we evolved as humans and the more things became more modern and more technologized, I realized we become more lazier. And we stop being more of the hardworking, efficient human beings that put forth their hands to work and make and create things. Not that we don't now, but in a genuine manner in times past compared to now, because everything's easier.
yeah, you stop exercising your brain. You stop exercising your brain. You stop doing like technology has taken away our abilities to practice our senses
Right.
to the highest degree.
Absolutely.
Like it's when you start there and studying the senses of as we were studied upon, and you find things that are distractions and taken away from the unison that we're supposed to have, that's what it causes. Perfect example, like to even add to what you're saying. Because at this point now, it's a podcast episode. I was in like a refresher course like a couple of days ago, and my supervisor was telling me that we have a pulse ox that tells us the pulse and the oxygen saturation that people put on people's fingers to tell whether they're breathing okay or not.
Yep.
He said one simple thing that we're losing the art of is grabbing somebody's wrist right here, just checking for a pulse. Because in shows, it's easy to just snap the pulse ox on somebody's finger instead of just checking for a pulse right here. You have 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 a pulse in between your thighs, and you have all the way to your foot.
That's crazy.
Something as small as that, rather than assuming somebody's breathing, we're losing the art of actually using our brains. And that small thing, which causes bigger problems. That's just to add to what you're saying.
Let's just say people say now, because as much as I've been paying attention, I've learned, and I'll say this from what I've observed, I've realized how much TikTok is destroying people's brains. It's wild that from what I've watched and from what I've been seeing, people have been getting fired, posting videos, and it's ridiculous that we're losing our common sense as human beings in general. If you need to take a social media break, if you need to go touch grass, as people say, and be outside, and you need to, how can I put, electronically detox as much as you possibly can, then do so for your own mental health sake, because this device is disrupting the way a lot of humans think, act, and behave. And I'm not even going to go into the previous classes I had before with how bad these kids are getting. But these devices, we have to use them every day. It's unfortunate. But don't get me wrong. If you can be off of it as much as possible, use it for more productive means in a sense that will help you and benefit you, then do so. And I'm not some holier than thou. I've just realized I use YouTube a lot. So I listen, I observe, I read comments. This device is destroying your brains and destroying the way a lot of humans think. And it's fueling degenerate, over sexualized, decrepit, ominous, nasty, disgusting behavior as humans. As these devices evolve, we just get worse, if you guys have realized. Juan made an excellent point. It is a tool. Communication, outsourcing, money-wise, investing, stuff like that. But how far humans have taken with everything we do is, and this is why I said earlier, I'm grateful, and I didn't say arrogantly not to be the most high. Everything we do, there's a sick, dark, evil side to humans that's like, what if I did this? In everything we do, there's always something evil and contrary to what's good and what's righteous. Every time. AI. You know what my problem is with AI? There's teachers that have been arrested for using AI to make sexual content of their students in the classroom. Another worst part, parents don't realize AI is being used for child pornography. In everything we do, there's always the righteous and look at what's good and look how this will be productive, how much money it'll make, how profitable it is. And then you flip the switch and look what we're doing. Absolutely. People don't even know how to have a simple conversation now. A lot of people don't know the difference between social media. Yeah, and that's the COVID did a number on us because kids had to learn electronically. So electronically and devices and the iPhone and this and that, it only progressively made things worse. Yeah, it actually did. Yep, internet and social media has created, absolutely did. No wonder why Steve Jobs never wanted his own kids to have iPhones. And look at our children now. So again, the thumbnail to the class, just observe it and imagine yourself there and somebody else, excuse me, and imagine you not being there, somebody else filling your place. Don't be the individuals in the scriptures that made those excuses. Don't. Because the master sees right through the BS and sees and knows your heart. He's the one that tries it and knows it. You can lie and deceive man. You can't lie and deceive the Most High. Absolutely. Look at what builds up in the brain. So, yep. All the gray matter and everything that piles on and on that people don't realize is rotting their brains. Absolutely. You need your brain to the best of your ability. You got one body. Do not let it go to waste. If you see other people and how they're letting go of theirs, do not let that be you. We are the number one people across every single health statistic where we're quote unquote, as the word goes, disproportionately affected by everything pertaining to illness, disease, cancer, heart attacks, you name it. You name it. So that'll conclude this class. But again, the thumbnail to the class, make sure you have a seat at the table. Don't be the ones that made the excuse. Absolutely. We do need to take care of our vessels. These are rentals, by the way. You won't be getting your own permanent vehicle if you can't take care of the rental that the Lord gave you. All right, all right. With that being said, Amadnim Apanyam Akwadam, rise and face the east. Psalm chapter 127. Except the Lord build the house, they labor in vain that build it. Except the Lord keep the city, the watchman waketh but in vain. It is vain for you to rise up early, to sit up late, to eat the bread of sorrows, for so he giveth his beloved sleep. Lo, children are an heritage of the Lord, and the fruit of the womb is his reward. As arrows are in the hand of a mighty man, so are children of the youth. Happy is the man that hath his quiver full of them. They shall not be ashamed, but they shall speak with the enemies in the gate. In the name of Yahweh, Hashem Yahawashi, Wad Yad,
Amadu, Barak, Yahweh Hashem Yahawashi,
All right, family. Shalom, shalom. I allow to walk.